in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you 5 lessons that I learned from one of my April's read titled Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. If you're one person that dreads change, or you're always scared of leaving your comfort zone, you always just prefer to do what you know, you don't like to take risks, then you should watch this video because I'll be sharing with you 5 lessons that I learned from the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson, who was able to break the story of 4 characters, how they reacted to the changes around their lives, and the impact that the individual decisions made in their lives. If you're new to the channel, you are absolutely welcome. I want to encourage you to keep watching my videos. Click on the subscribe button below and share my videos with as many people as possible. To all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back. I hope that you continue to watch and that you share my videos to more people as well. Welcome back, guys. In today's video, I am going to be sharing with you 5 lessons that I learned from one of my April's read titled Who Moved My Cheese. According to the author of Who Moved My Cheese, Spencer Johnson, it says, what you're afraid of is never as bad as you imagined. The fear that you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that actually exists. So the fear that you have let in your mind, that you've allowed in your mind about a thing that's happening in your life or a thing that you think would happen is worse than the situation that exists. You are just building up fear. Meanwhile, it's not as bad as you think. So I'm not going to be giving you the full details. I'll just give you a summary and tell you these 5 lessons. So it's left to you to either just work with the lessons I'm giving to you or go ahead to read the book so that you can get the full details. This book featured 4 characters. 2 of them were represented as mices and the other 2 represented as little people. So these 4 people had to run into a maze, and the maze would be like going about with their daily activities. So whatever narration I'm giving to you, imagine that or liken it to yourself as a person. You are going every day out to work to search for daily bread. That's your own maze of life. You want to make things work for yourself. You want to get things done. You want to achieve a level of success. And for you to achieve it, there are things you have to do. You have to work, right? You have to seek opportunities. That is what they were doing every morning by, picking up their boots, going into the maze. So the book talked about the maze. And so they would go into the maze and start looking for cheese. So cheese was like a metaphor in that book. And the representation for cheese would be all the good things of life that you want. Are you looking for a job? That's the cheese in the book. Are you looking for a good opportunity? Are you looking for a spouse? Are you looking for a sponsorship? Are you looking for an admission? That is the cheese. So these 4 individuals or characters will go into the maze and start looking for cheese, and eventually they found a supply of cheese. But they became very comfortable because after all, they didn't have to work so hard. They didn't even know how it got there. They saw the cheese and started enjoying it, taking from it. They'll go every day. In fact, they already knew where it was. So all they had to do was to just wake up and go there and take from it and leave. But guess what? After a while, on the very day when they ran into the maze, the cheese was gone. There was no more supply of cheese in the location where they would always take it, where they would always get the cheese from. So what did they do? This book now started to narrate how each of them reacted or responded to the disappearance of the cheese. So imagine that you have a job and the job came to you on a platter of gold. Not all of us had that experience. Some of us had to apply and work before we got a job. Whichever side of the coin that you're on, imagine that you eventually got the job and then all of a sudden you just got to work and they said they are laying off everyone and then everyone had to leave work. What would be your reaction? Because that's a sudden change. So this book was all about change, how to adapt to change, how to get used to change, how to prepare for change. So it explained how each of these characters reacted to change. So not to be a spoiler, because I am not the author of the book, I only read it and I learned from it, and I'm giving you these 5 lessons so that peradventure you really want to know more about it, you want to know these characters in person, you want to hear how they reacted to the change, then go ahead and get the book so that you can have the full understanding. So not to be a spoiler, you should already guess that one person out of those 4 characters will be very comfortable, will be very entitled, and will be like, why was the cheese moved? Why was it taken away? It was here. Who took it away? It's our cheese. It's unfair. That's one phrase that we use a lot. In life, when you see things that come to you on a platter just happens to get taken away or just disappears, you feel entitled. You're like, it's unfair. Why is it happening to me? Sometimes you even question God. This book will teach you that not everything lasts forever, and you have to be ready for that. Life is about change. Life is always moving. Things are always changing. I'm sure you already know about this quote that says the only constant thing in life is change. So if you're not prepared for change, honestly, you would not be able to live life as effectively to its full potential, because at some point you would just sit down and wallow in regret and keep complaining. You'd feel too comfortable and relaxed, and you just keep asking why it's unfair, just like one of the character. And if you're guessing as well that there was one of the character that got tired of how things were and decided to pursue new opportunities, then you guessed right, because yes, one of them decided to the extent that the one that decided to pursue new opportunities was trying to draw along the other one that was, just complaining, wailing, and all of that. But that character had already made up his mind that he was going to do nothing. So I'll just head over to the lessons, 5 lessons, and hopefully you're able to learn from it to show you how to adapt to change better, how to react to change, how to be prepared better for change, so that life becomes much more easier for you. So let's go into each of these lessons, and hopefully I'm able to back it up with some fictional examples that would make it more relatable and understandable for you. The first lesson I want us to learn from the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson is that change happens. Like I have said, change is the only constant thing in life. If your life is the same right from inception up to when you are a teenager, up to when you are a young adult, an adult, a youth, and till you're old, then it's going to be so boring. It's going to be, I don't know, just imagine that it's the same thing you're doing, the same thing that's happening. And fortunately for us, life is not like that. It deals with change, constant change. Changes that you did not envisage will just happen, and it's left to you to determine how to react to it. So if you understand that life is about change, then you would always be prepared for it. So let me give you an example. Imagine that you're working in an organization and you've been working there for over 20 years, right? You're used to it. You're very comfortable with the processes. You've now adapted to the operations. You're used to every single thing. In fact, you can do them while you're sleeping. And all of a sudden, there's going to be a merger with another organization. And so they're going to downsize some of the staff because the merger will not be able to accommodate staff from both organizations. And unfortunately for you, you are part of the number of people that would be given the letter to resign or to be sacked, whatever the case is. Just look at it from the perspective of someone that has not heard the lesson of this book. What will you do? Okay, this is an illustration, and I believe that this would have happened to a number of us at different points in time of our lives. So it doesn't have to be for a job, it can be anything at all. Something that you already own, you're already comfortable with, and then it was taken away from you, just like the cheese was taken away from the 4 characters. What will you do? It's best to understand that change is constant, it happens all the time. So you must be prepared. Do not just rely on whatever opportunity it is that you have. Always think about the future. What if I lose what I have right now? Will I still be able to create something better for myself? Imagine that you lose your source of income. Now, it's at this point I'll mention to you that your current job is not your what. Your current job does not measure your what, your financial what. Your current job does not determine how rich you are, right? How rich you are is actually determined by the skills you have, such that if for any reason you lose that job, you can use whatever skills it is that you have or that you have developed to build something else for yourself. So look at it like that. Even when I'm comfortable in this job, I need to be consistent in building my skills. I need to be consistent in building my portfolio, such that in case something happens to my job, I am not affected to a large extent. So that's how you prepare for change. And that's the first lesson for you. Always envisage change and be prepared for it. It will really help you in the course of life, because change is constant and will keep happening, so that you're not caught unawares and so that you are easily able to move on whenever change comes. Apart from preparing your mind for change, you know that it would always happen, it is constant. Number 2 lesson that I want you to learn from this book is to anticipate change. Number 1, you've changed your mindset. You know that change is inevitable. You will prepare for it. Now, number 2, anticipate it and do things in such a way that it prepares you for the change ahead. So imagine that you are in an organization. I don't know why I keep giving examples of an organization, but that's just how best I can explain to you. right now. So you're in an organization that has been operating manually before now, and it's the period where things are now going digital. The number of software is being introduced, everything is changing. Okay, so what would you do to anticipate change? As an employee, one thing you can think about first is that if you do not develop yourself in these digital areas, then it would affect you, because more people that are vast in these areas will be considered instead of you. So what you can do, when you have the mindset of anticipating change, is to start picking up those skills, learning those skills, so that you do not become obsolete. I hope you understand. So have the mindset that change is constant, it's inevitable. That's number one. Number two, always anticipate change and try to take necessary actions or steps to prepare you for the change. Number three lesson will be to adapt to change quickly, right? There's one of the character that I mentioned that became very comfortable. He started to question why the cheese was moved away. And he kept saying, it's unfair, why it was ours. And even when they didn't know how we got there, that character was entitled and just kept complaining. And that's one lesson I want you to learn. In this life full of change, learn to adapt quickly. Do not complain. Do not sit down and wallow in self-pity and tears. Trust me, it's going to hurt you. It's okay to take a break if you have to, but do not be there for long. And I'm going to give you another example. This time around, it won't be a work example. So imagine that you would usually get grocery from a store very close to your house. It's like 5 minutes walk from the house. And you go there, you get groceries. It's very fast, it's very efficient. It just saves you time, it saves you money. You don't have to board a bus or go by car. You just trek and it's fine. All of a sudden, you wake up and the shop has permanently closed down. What would you do? Like, the first thing you think about is, how do I get my groceries? Where do I start from? And probably the next grocery store, it's like 30 minutes by bus. And then, when you have to trek, it will be even more than that. What do you do? Will you just like say, I'm not going to get groceries anymore? Instead, what would you do? Like, you start calculating, where is the next grocery store? It's 30 minutes. If I have to go by bus, I have to now start spending money for transportation. Another option would be, okay, what if I'm coming from work, or I already go out for something else? Why can't I just run multiple errands at the same time? Or another thing would be to just budget for your grocery transportation, just anything that will make you adapt fast, rather than wallowing in self-pity, rather than asking so many questions. This analogy is not only about grocery stores. Look at it in whatever aspect of life that you're experiencing a major change and you do not know how to go about it. Sit down, analyze, plan again, and start to get used to the new life that you are now in, or to the new situation that you found yourself in, and move on. I believe that makes sense, because just dwelling on the loss, we just waste your time, waste your, productivity, your effort, and all of that. So always learn to adapt to change. It's not going to be easy, but when you follow this step of understanding that change is inevitable, number two, you should always be ready to prepare for change. Number three, always adapt to change. Then things become easier. Don't be entitled. Yes, so some of these things, you don't even know how it got there in the first place. So why should they consider you when it's sticking out? Like, it's just bound to happen. It wasn't about you in the first place. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth lesson. Fourth lesson will be to change your attitude. And I'm going to go back to the illustration I used when you were suddenly laid off from a job. What would be your attitude to that change that has just occurred, rather than just seeing it as a disappointment, or rather than seeing it as a setback that would put you into financial depression, put you into emotional depression, put you into mental depression? Why not look at it in the aspect of, okay, after all, I've been in this job for over 20 years. I think it's time to move on. I think it's time to dust my CV and get something better for myself. Right? Change your mindset. I would always refer to the book Mindset by Carol Dweck that talked about having a growth mindset rather than having a fixed mindset. Someone with a growth mindset would always focus on what will be learned from the experience, how it can improve the situation by you not blaming other people for their predicaments, by not complaining alone, by not just being sad and being entitled, but will be ready to learn from the experience and move on. So if you find yourself in that situation, it's even best for you to sharpen your skills and get yourself something better to do, because like I mentioned earlier, your worth is not determined by your job or what you are doing currently, or by what you can use your skills, your experience, and even your interest to achieve. The very final lesson I have for you will be to enjoy change and stay motivated in the course of change. So like I said, change will always occur. So find a way to enjoy it, find a way to bring a balance between not feeling too entitled, dejected, wallowing in self-pity, and trying to learn from it, trying to enjoy it. But what I mean by bringing a balance is because we are emotional beings, and it's actually sometimes impossible to not feel bad, especially when bad things happen. But the ability to be able to bring a balance is when you know when to stop being sad and to take action to correct the situation. So bring that balance and enjoy the change. And the illustration I'll be giving for this lesson will be, imagine that you already put money together to have a vacation by the middle of the year, and then you are almost getting to your target that will take you for the vacation, and all of a sudden something very unexpected happens, and now you have to channel the savings that you have made for your vacation into that particular emergency. What would you do? Would you cry? Would you complain? Just imagine, what would you do? I would say that you should, instead of just complaining or instead of canceling the vacation altogether, try to be flexible, try to be open-minded. Instead of saying, I want to go for my vacation by the middle of the year, why not move it to the end of the year so that you can have the opportunity to save up back again rather than canceling it outrightly? Be open-minded, be ready to make informed decisions at various times in life. Make sure that you have your best interest at heart even when you do that. So be open-minded and enjoy the journey. Looking at the brighter side, you have the fund to sort your emergencies. You are not stranded. So why just beat yourself up because you have spent the money for your vacation? Instead, when you move it to the end of the year, you even have more time to be able to, save up to go for that vacation. Another thing you can even consider is to now have a separate fund for your emergencies, so that next time you don't have to eat into your vacation fund or whatever fund it is that you have set aside for something else. So it should be a learning curve for you. It should be a learning process for you. Whatever thing change brings, it should be a learning process for you. Do not be close-minded. When obstacles arise, be ready to adapt to it, be ready to find temporary solutions while you work on permanent solutions for those situations that would come your way. I hope you've been able to pick one or two things from this review that I did about the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. To end this review, I would say, still using the words of the author, life is a journey and the path is never straight. Embrace the curves, all the turns, all the new challenges, all the new experiences, all the obstacles. Embrace every one of them. Embrace the unexpected stops, because they often will lead you to the most beautiful and most colorful destination of success that we have always wanted to achieve. So thank you so much for watching this video up to this end. If you stayed to this end, I really appreciate you. Tell me what you have learned in the comment section below. Tell me how you're going to be implementing all of this change in your day-to-day activities. Tell me what you've been doing before that you will now stop doing now, or what you will start doing to embrace change better and adapt better to change, so that we can all learn together. Remember, if you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, now is the time. Click on the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell so that you can be the first to be notified whenever I put up a new video. So thank you so much once again for watching my video. Do not forget to share, comment, like, and engage with me in the comment section below. I'll see you all in my next video. Don't forget, change is constant, and always be ready for change. Bye guys. Bye.